So could you explain to me the project and the genesis of the project?
Yes, so the project started with this intuition of wanting to work with a flip-flop and trying to take seriously what felt like a maybe random intuition, understand why I'm into this object. There's a kind of network of ideas, that gave birth to this project from the flip-flop. The first one is this kind of very flexible cartoon behavior of a flip-flop as an object. And I'm an animator, so I think it spoke to me right away. It felt like it was living beyond its function. And then kind of getting interested in it maybe as such a kind of recurring thing. It's like everyone has own flip-flops. It's like we produce millions of them every year. It's actually even an environmental issue. It's very cheap. Everyone can have it. But at the same time, it's like a big trope of like maybe an object of the global south with the meme of the mom disciplining kids throwing the flip-flop on them. It's just like an object that belongs to everyone in a way. So with that as a basis, I felt like it was an interesting object because it's so simple, but it's actually everywhere. So it holds so much. And then I had made a sculpture with one flip-flop making a sound, and I was curious to know if there's more than one with different sounds, if it starts creating sequences that feel like music. And I was interested in moments, where you are in a crowd and there's this kind of visceral feeling that you're around a lot of people and you're activated in this new way, and in connecting with everyone around something that you're sharing, either a political kind of like demand because you're at a protest around a lot of people, or a musical kind of thread because you're at a concert or producing music with other people, or you're at a stadium watching foot or something, and then you're kind of cheering together. And I was watching also a lot of videos of like chants, stadium chants that are political, where it's like things that maybe would put you in danger if you sang them alone, like like government corruption or singing for Palestine, things like that. But then when you have a big body of people doing it, you can arrest them. So I was interested from the flip-flop to like this idea of multitude of bodies together through the feet and like a stomping that can feel musical or political. And slowly this became like this, came together as this instrument that has a feeling of multitude, but also it also becomes just like a symphony, sometimes a riot, and it's composed of 300 flip-flops.
300?
Almost 300 that are
But
connected.
they are pairs or no?
Sorry?
Is there pairs of flip-flop or only one each time?
No, there are instruments that work like pairs. You have a left-right logic, but they're not necessarily pairs. Yeah. And
So your multitude is protective, it's not dangerous.
It's very fluid. We have sometimes like one song we call the military march, or something that feels like a bit more fascist. It's just kind of thinking about these group dynamics of like how to be together. I think we're not often in a big group of people. Social media is maybe the closest we feel to being in community, but it's only an abstraction of like what it feels. We just project what it's like to be with other people, but when you're actually physically with other people, something happens that sometimes you can't control your behavior. Why do we want to act differently when we're in a big group? So it's not necessarily just protective.
And so there's a different kind of music.
Yeah, in that sense, yeah, there is a lot of rhythmics, so some imitation of traditional Moroccan music, and also some experimentation of new stuffs, and also we try to create from the sound of the flip-flops on itself something new, and we try to experiment with it through time, and we try to combine some of them and see what happens as well in that sense, until we get something beautiful out of it, and we feel like it's this unity between all of them created. So and then we start arranging it, and we keep bringing some elements, and all that we make some musical arrangements, all that. We try to imitate as well some drums and instruments and all that. So, and we have a chance as well. Now we have another instrument that we have these melodies comes on the.
So if I come by chance at any time, there will be different kind of music or what? Yeah. It will be continue.
It's a we're not done with it at this point, but it will be about 45 minutes of a loop. We thought it was a good length because that means that you can come a few times and it's different, but it's also long enough that we can have really long kind of progressions of musical arrangements, knowing that Redha will make musical arrangement and they're like perfectly arranged, and then we break them too, because it's not just a concert, you know. So there's like this idea of like how they kind of exist together, you know, like how they disrupt each other, how different, you know, personalities will just kind of start leading and then losing the lead, and how sometimes it's like noise and it's overwhelming. So we're trying to find this balance in this kind of like a bit like silly absurdist recreation of like a body, you know, a government body or a societal body. Yeah.
Yes, and so where are the feet of all these flip-flops?
They're, you know, in your imagination, I guess. They're always talking about the negative space, you know, you imagine them. You see a flip-flop, then you imagine the body that wears it. And so all of them, you know, even if you try to really extract them from their socio-aesthetic belonging, you can't. You see one and you're like, you know who the type of person who wears this flip-flop. So it's like we can't escape, I guess, personality or like self-presentation, you know, even with just plastic.
And you wear flip-flop?
I actually never owned a pair my whole life. I'm serious.
And you?
Yeah, when I was kid, a lot. Till now, I like them. But from brands, maybe skate brands.
Really?
That's hard ones that cannot break anymore. That's what I do.
And so you expect people to stay and to listen to the music?
I never expect people to do anything. I mean, they will do what they want, but in the first version of this that was shown before, people would stay and, you know, because there's a progression.
Where was the first version?
At Fondazione Prada in Milan. It was the first version of this.
Ah.
You know, it was a different, you know, similar principle, similar. We worked together as well, but it was a different version, and this is a version that's adapted to the vertical space. So it's very site-specific. It's made on a, you know, very like going up from a floor to the next. It's made to be attached to the specific, you know, grids, metal grids. And also, we keep joking, it's like a riad, you know, the Moroccan buildings, you know, which, and also because the Qamrakshia, which is a type of ceremony in Marrakesh of music, is often played in kind of riads, and we try to recreate moments like that. So it's kind of perfect. It's this other version of a riad.
And but in Prada Foundation, were there some armchairs to lie down?
So here we have a couch at Prada. We had, also as well, Fondazione Prada, we had 2 couches, and they were also these little vistas you could lean on. I started showing with video, so I video installations, and I would always imagine seats to kind of be the trick people into.
But here no, there's no.
Here I don't want people to sit. There's no point sitting here. You won't experience much. We have seats over there.
Ah, okay.
And then the point is to like lean and, you know, gossip.
Super, merci beaucoup.
Plaisir, gossip.